Right then, this is the Dubstep gun Mark II. I'm still in the middle of making this, but it's come quite far from the original. Now, the phone will be held inside of here. Inside there. And then once it's slotted in, those slot up. And it's held in safely. The reason why it will be put there is because then I have an app on my phone which can make an equalizer, which is an aspect of the Dubstep gun that's actually there that I don't have, that is really difficult to make. I've added this groove, put tape on it for now, because that's kind of what it's going to be like on the actual finished project, maybe. I'm thinking of maybe repainting it though. Because that's actually what's there, but it's not on the bottom bit though. The bottom part, it's not on the bottom part. So I've smoothened off all the edges, as you can see. Made it much nicer. You'd be able to see that it was much nicer if you did that and stuff. You made the surfaces flat and stuff. Made sure all the surfaces are flat and stuff. Once I took the speaker bit off, it's actually surprisingly much lighter than with it. The old speaker, if you just wait a moment, is this thing. This thing was what was at the front. That thing would go there. And yeah, that was all well and good. But the original one wasn't like that, so I've decided against it. Also, those are crap, but I'm keeping it just in case I cannot do what I'm going to be trying to do next. What I'm trying to do now. If I can't do that very easily, either I'll try a different method of making it, or worst comes to worst, I just have to use that version. That's my finger, by the way. Ooh. And so that was then thickened up as well, like the proper one, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, everything's been redone and made better, and I've remade the speaker. As you can see though, the wood is very thick, so it is really quite heavy, really quite weighty, which is probably going to become a problem. Or either that, or I just need to get stronger. The other option is then to make this out of that sort of stuff, or that sort of stuff. So either that stuff, or this stuff. Because as you can see, that stuff is very thin. That stuff is thin-ish. So you know that. If I were to make it out of it as something again, actually, it would have to be out of that stuff. Because if I made it from anything else, it would be too. It would be too heavy, really. So with this, the only problem that there may be with it is, other than its size, because it is quite big, because I adapted it, because this was all like a big, massive, like, if you imagine this, but that was like, that went to like there, and that part there was all filled in, and there was about exactly the same much gap there. So all in all, it was really, really bloody big. So I've made it as small and as nice as possible, with room to fit the two other speakers that I have. I'm also thinking of making it so that there's two speakers that are there and there either don't. I'm thinking of making it so that they don't work for a specific reason that I'll come to next, and that is with the powering system. I've found that with like a mighty, this thing really. Let me start again. Actually, sorry. There's this really cool thing called a mighty boom ball. You might have heard of it. I'm not sure. I got one for Christmas this year, 2015. and it's basically a little. I don't have it with me right now, but it's like a little ball. You unscrew one end, and it's like almost a small part of a speaker, but it's not actually a proper speaker. It vibrates like a speaker would, but without actually making any noise. Or it does, but just not very much. Instead it makes a lot of vibrations. So you stick it to an object, and it amplifies through it. So the more hollow the object is, the better the noise is. And it's really good. It's really, really good. And it's powered by this little box here, attached to the wire that attaches into it, which has 2 AAA batteries. It says long life on them, but they're already dead. But I suppose I have changed them up before. But hey, anyway, enough about batteries. Actually, no, still on the subject of battery, technically. One other little tiny problem is that so that will plug into my phone, but the tiny problem is that that's going to be a bit annoying, because it's much. If I bring the other one closer, you can see that they are much one of them's much smaller than the other one, and that one sticks into the mighty boom ball. So that in itself is a problem, and but I'm gonna have to buy another mighty boom ball again. They're only £9 actually. By the way, I'm not sponsored by them, but if Mighty Boom Ball Company or whatever would like to sponsor me for this video or something like that, then that'd be great, but I ain't asking for much, I'm just saying. So yeah, basically, this, I have found, crazily enough, if you attach it, oh yeah, and by the way, this opens up for nice access. If you attach these wires to the back bit, the main bit is the back bit there, and then one of the front pieces on there, then it actually powers it, and it only requires 2 AAA batteries. Considering that my original version of the Dubstep gun required this bloody massive thing, that I'm not sure if you can see it, but it requires, yeah, you can see it right there. Just focus on that. You see that? 12 volts. DC 12 volts of power. It's crazy. To be able to power this thing for like barely an hour, you'd need a set of 8 D-cell batteries. You know, those massive fat ones. Really massive fat ones. You'd need 8 of them, and it would only supply you for about like an hour, maybe less. And I have rechargeable ones, and they'd take something like 2 days almost to charge all of them. It would like take 1 day to charge 4, because the charger station only has a capacity of 4. So if I put the 4 batteries into it and stuff, it wouldn't charge very well. Anyway. I'm going to have to wrap this up quite quickly, actually, because my phone is running out of battery. But, the thing that I got to do now, that I have thought of very, very recently, was this thing. I was making little different things to stick on, like, the front and all, to hold this thing in. And it was always putting a lot of pressure on here, because the bit where it's secured in, I almost sounded American then, was that, yeah. Well, anyway, sorry, that was just Tom. Anyway, that I should put this in to there, because if I put that in and push it, let me just wait a second. Put that all the way down there. This thing is going almost the entire span of the Dubstep gun, spreading out the weight of this thing all the way down the body, which is much easier on me to hold it, because seeing as I have to use my left hand on there, and my left hand's the weakest hand. I mean arm, hand and arm, but anyway, it's gonna make it a lot lighter, but I've just got to work out how to attach these 2 things together, basically, and then I'm gonna have to paint it up. Also, this time I'm going to be using real applications from, like, actual, you know that I already, like, used these on the original one, but I'm actually going to be with, like, for instance, the vinyl reader, I'm actually going to be using a real one. I'm going to be using real actual musical things on the dubstep gun to make it as real as possible, and it's going to be really, really cool. Anyway, I'll make another update video when I've gotten significantly further. So yeah, this is basically it. This is African signing out. Peace out.